In this video, we're going to go over the steps and the process to a divorce in Alabama. We're going to go over in detail each of how you start, the phases in between, and the end. And the reason this is important is because a lot of times you're not going to have the time to speak with your attorney as much as you would like, okay? They're going to have other appointments. You've got a job. So even if the attorney had plenty of room, it's just hard to take off work. It's hard to find time to adequately sit down and hear all that you really want to hear from the attorney rather than just what the attorney thinks you need to know. This will help lower your anxiety level to at least have an idea of what's in front of you. I like to kind of think of it as, if you don't know where we're going, it's kind of like swimming in the Coosa River, right? It's brown, it's dark, you can't see. We want to be able to brighten you up and have a little bit better idea of what's going on, okay? So first is you've got to fill out the required forms, okay? In order to file a divorce, whether that's contested or uncontested, there's two required forms to start. There's a complaint for divorce, and what this does is you file to let the court know and let the other party know what you are requesting out of a divorce. It'll say, I want custody, you to pay child support, and the visitation to be this, and I want the house sold, I want this car, and these are the things out of the house I want. Or depending on each lawyer's style, you might be even more vague. One of the reasons I like to put as much, not as much, but a pretty good amount of detail in my complaint is it gives the judge a roadmap. They've never heard your case. When you put your client on the stand, they can look at your complaint and kind of see, okay, this is what they're going for, okay? So after you get the required forms, first is a complaint and next is a summons. And a summons is the sheet of paper that the process server or the sheriff, the constable, will sign to say that they have served the other party. Okay, so that'll have to be included as well if you're filing by paper file. If you're filing by e-file, it'll automatically generate that for you, which you're probably not filing by e-file unless you have a lawyer. Next is you've got to pay a filing fee. In each county in Alabama, that's different. Right now in Etowah County, it's $201.76 if we e-file it, and it's $192 if you file it paper file, which to me makes no sense that e-file would be more expensive because it's a lot less work for the clerk. Next is they will serve your spouse, okay? You'll have the process server or the sheriff, constable, or even by certified mail, and I go over how to serve your spouse in divorce in another video if you want to check that out. But you got to get them served, right? They have to have notice that you want a divorce. They have to have notice to know when a court date is. They have to have notice of what you want out of a divorce so that they can properly defend that. Next is once they're served, they will answer and they'll let the court know exactly what they want out of a divorce, okay? They'll lay out, no, I want custody, or no, I want the house. I want to refinance it, or, it'll lay that out. And then you will have to answer what's called a counter complaint, okay? And you'll just, generally the way we answer it is we deny any and all material allegations and demand strict proof thereof is what we write out. So from there, From here, it depends on the case. If there's custody involved or who's living where involved, and there's issues that need to be dealt with immediately, we will file for, or the other party will file for what's called pendent light relief. Pendent light is just a fancy Latin word for temporary relief, okay? And that's relief pending a final hearing, okay? So you'll file that, and then you may have a hearing within a few days or even a few weeks to address custody, visitation, child support, where people are going to live, temporary alimony, who's going to pay attorney fees, pending a final hearing, okay? So then you may have that hearing. Or sometimes you may file for temporary relief, such as, hey, I want to make sure that nobody's moving accounts around. I want to make sure that nobody's selling any assets. And then you'll have what I kind of think of as sort of automatic orders or status quo orders, where the court will say, no moving money around. The court will say, don't be selling anything, the court may say that to continue to pay bills the way you previously had before the separation. So if husband was a doctor and paid bills before you filed for divorce, he would have to continue to pay that after. That doesn't just apply to doctors. I'm just kind of giving an extreme example for you to help understand. So, okay, now let's say that it is an uncontested divorce that you guys agreed or have come to an agreement. Then you would fill out all the necessary forms, and we'll go over that in another video of what those forms are. And then you have to wait 30 days from the date you filed to get your final divorce, okay? Some judges here in Etowah County will require a hearing, and the hearing is brief. It doesn't take longer than 5-10 minutes. And it's only the plaintiff or who filed for divorce that has to be there. The other party doesn't even have to be there. And most judges here, especially since the pandemic, don't require us to have that uncontested divorce hearing, okay? Another step you would have would be discovery. If assets are at issue or if custody is at issue and we really need to be prepared to know exactly what the other side has, or we need a clear picture of what the pie is so that we can cut up the pie, you do discovery. You send requests for production or interrogatories to the other party, and they'll probably do the same to you. The pros of that is we get more information, we're more prepared. The con is it's very expensive and time consuming and can slow down your final divorce. And then after that is you'll have your divorce hearing. You'll have your final hearing, you'll have a say as to how things are split up. The court will hear it. Generally in Etowah County, it's set for about 2.5 hours. If you need more time, you've got to let the court know in advance that you need more time. And it's pretty rare that we deal with anything that will take more than 2.5 hours. I skipped mediation. A lot of times people have a mediation, which would be a formal process between both parties, and a mediator, which is another lawyer. That's job is to force you guys, not force, but coerce you guys into a settlement. Again, after the hearing, let's say you don't like the outcome of what the judge said, then you file what's called a post-judgment motion, letting the court know what law they got wrong and why it was wrong. And then you'll have a hearing for that. After that, if it's denied from there, then you can file an appeal. So if you've got any questions, just let me know.